innocent perfection of God. Everything in you is the light. It is natural. It is constant. It is your existence, light. Is it hard to find? It seems to be. Because everything about the ego says, don't pay any attention to the light. Pay attention to the world. But once you touch into that light, and everybody does, there's a place within that becomes very lighthearted. And the lightheartedness is natural. And it's the lightheartedness that comes from the realization that, oh, that light was there all the time. I just kind of avoided it for some reason. But it becomes easier and easier and easier to embrace your light. That light that you are is the connecting point of creation. And that light is so brilliant that it is not like any light that could be imagined in this world. It's a light that is so pure because it is the truth of God. That its power, its strength, its brilliance could cut the earth in half. There's so much brilliant, piercing light. And while it is this piercing light, it is the gentleness of the universe. It is the gentle light that makes all the stars shine. It is the gentle light of the moon and the sun. And it is your heart's light, always present, always brilliant. The spiritual journey to truth and love can sometimes seem like a child's book that you read and kind of you can read it and say, oh, isn't that nice? That's really nice. But eventually you feel the draw, and you feel the devotion, and you feel the calling to open that door. And find the devotion that calls to the light. Calling yourself back to truth. And the self that is being called back is already the brilliance of God and has just been in an altered state, just having forgotten. and the light remains waiting. In the brilliance of this light that you are, whether you are aware of the light or not aware of the light, there's no judgment, there's no penalty, whether you acknowledge it or don't acknowledge it. But when we are not acknowledging and accepting the light that is within, we're bereft, because it's what we are. And to not be that light in consciousness is a place of a sense of loss. It isn't really lost because you haven't lost anything. But God's intention of that light that's your home. That's where you belong. That's your life. And in that light life, you return to the oneness. And all of the ideas that have been made by the ego of separation just disappear. Just completely disappear. You are so loved. In this moment, the light affirms that the universe is all love. Every beloved is that light and that love. Every element of creation of God's is that light and that love. And it's all coming to return to oneness. The sanctuary is filled with love because it is what is. And there is only one life force for all creation. It is the life force of God. And within that life force, we live and move and breathe as one. Return to the light. One presence, one truth, one love. All I am, all I am, all I am is given to me. My mother gives to me, my father gives to me. All I am set free. I can forgive, I am forgiven. My mother gives to me, my father gives to me. Here to receive, here to be forgiven. I will receive, I am forgiven. All I am, all I am, all I am is given to me, here to receive. All I am, here to be given. All I am. Here comes the sun to heal us as we all affirm ourselves in the truth of love, in the sun, the moon, and the stars, and in the Queen of the Sea. I have arrived. I'm already here. I'm here to follow and to affirm the direction that my Father calls me to. My Father, my Mother, you are always blessing all divine beings, giving us your comfort, the comfort of love. Since I am with you, I can never consider myself dead. Lavemos somos curar, vamos todos se firmar, no sol, na lua, nas estrelas e na rainha do mar. Cheguei, já estou aqui, ninguém queira duvidar. O que meu Pai me ordena, eu tenho que afirmar. Meu Pai vos nos abençoe, nos dando vosso conforto, que eu estando convosco, jamais me considero morto. Since I am with you, I'll never consider myself dead. Since I am with you, in this prayer of love, it's to realize that death is an illusion. I can never consider myself dead. I can never die. I am with God. And in God, there is only eternal life. And this is everyone's inheritance. Eternal life. In peace and harmony and joy. It would be a cruel trick for God to give everyone eternal life and still have fear. Who would want eternal life and have to carry fear around? Thank God, when we open to the truth of eternal life, we've let go of the fear. We've let go of the worry and concerns and the belief of dark and bad and right and wrong. It's all gone. And eternal life is then welcomed because it's a life of peace, a life of joy, a life of harmony, a life of truth. And it's perfect. In devotion, devotion, for the most part, is a foreign relationship. The only thing most of us have known about devotion is that, at least here, there was no awareness of devotion. Devotion, unconsciously, in my mind, in the past, said, don't be a chump. Devotion is for chumps. Devotion is for sheep. that follow. I never said that out loud, but it's what ran. And then to enter into devotion. The prize of devotion is that it's so sweet. It's so intimate. It's so otherworldly. It takes you out of this world just for enough time that you touch into the holy union with divinity. And you brought yourself to that divinity through devotion. Because only each beloved can choose devotion. No one can enter into devotion as an obligation, as I don't want to be left behind. Everybody else is in devotion. I want to be in devotion too. Can't do it. Because it's such a place of the heart that longs for the truth to return home. The energy of devotion is delicious. It's a natural state. When you enter into devotion, you realize, oh, this is really another world. And it's a world that I remember. It's a place that is so soothing. And there's never a thought in devotion of, is anyone hearing this? Is anyone on the other side of this devotion? It's never a question, because the heart's so full. You know, when you were young, and maybe for the first time you made the connection between offering a present to someone that in the past you were too young to make a connection with, and all of a sudden you're planning and finding a present for someone that you're for the first time participating in an offering, and it feels so right. And that sensation, that feeling, that experience of the first time that you are so wanting to give that present, and see whoever it is that you felt to give this to, see them light up and be happy, and it touches your heart. And that feeling, that place, is like a tiny bead of light. And the devotion to God is the sun. So when you have that feeling of offering that gift, it's touching into that devotion. But it's the whole sun. The radiance of the devotion is so powerful that you never want to leave. And then you find out you don't have to. You can stay there and live there until you totally come home. And it soothes your heart, and it gives you confidence, and it gives you strength, and it gives you trust, all through your own devotion. And it's absolutely divinely orchestrated, because the divine recognizes the need for every beloved to have that devotion. And so it's coaxed in a quiet way. It's encouraged in a quiet way. But each beloved must open that door. Wow. When I touch that place, it's just magical. And it's not magic like it's made up. It's just so unworldly. And it belongs to everyone. Unnameable God, I feel you with me at every moment. You are my food, my drink, my sunlight, and the air I breathe. You are the ground I have built on and the beauty that rejoices my heart. I give thanks to you at all times for lifting me from my confusion, for reaching me and teaching me in the dark and showing me the path of life. I have come to the center of the universe. I rest in your perfect love. In your presence, there is fullness of joy and blessedness forever and ever. Can it be so delicious that even words that call to the divine can pierce your heart so deeply that nothing else is needed, that you are full? Yes, this is the way of blessings and devotion. Devotion is a state of being, and it's a practice. It's a practice that is very foreign to those of us who walked in the world and believed that the world was all that there was. And what a discovery. What an incredible discovery. That you thought you were one person, and when devotion opens, you find the truer you, because of the exquisite connection. You are my food and my drink and my sunlight and the air that I breathe. How can we not be devoted to the power that is our food and our drink and our sunlight and the air that we breathe? And at the same time of this devotion, it's also the realization that in the past, in the way of the world with love, it was always loving with an idea of loving. but always there was hesitation and conditions. The world has not known love because of the conditions, because everyone carried their conditions. I will love you if you behave yourself. I will love you if you agree with me. I will love you if you think I'm all conditions. And the love was taken when the conditions weren't met. Not because of meanness, but because that is the way that love was looked at through the ego. But now, in devotion, you bring your heart open in that devotion to God. And in return, you bring that devotion to humanity. You bring that devotion of no longer being willing to have conditions for love. To see the conditions and to recognize that they have no value and they have no worth. And that you never want to put a condition on love again, because the devotion has opened that up so deeply of true love. Listen to my prayer. Hear me in my hour of need. I am overwhelmed by the belief in troubles and terrified by my own thoughts. Guide my feet on your path of love. Don't let me stop. Don't let me falter. Teach me how powerful your love is and how insubstantial my fears. Hold me in the shadow of your wings. Cover me with your mercy. Rock me to sleep in the dark. And let me, when I awaken, see nothing but the light of your face. The intimacy of devotion. To realize that God knows every thought that you have before you even think it. And that the power of God knows exactly what is most helpful for you. Where in your life have you been able to rest in that place where anyone has ever known what was most helpful for you, really? And yet the power of God holds that so purely, so completely, that you can truly rest in that light. That you are held and you are always given what you need. And that the divine power of the universe always has exactly what is most helpful for you, waiting for you. It may not be what you consider it to be the most helpful. Sometimes it doesn't seem that. But if you accept it, then you discover that it always is. always. I'm overwhelmed by my troubles, terrified by my thoughts. This is a universal prayer. And what it says is everyone has the same fears. Everyone has the same ideas of the world, and everyone is eventually going to be on this journey of letting it all go, putting it into the hands of God, and asking for that help. Cover me with your mercy. Rock me to sleep in the dark. Rock me to sleep in the dark. It's such a simple request. Rock me to sleep in the dark. But it's what every child of God has wanted, to be rocked to sleep in the dark. Soothed, comforted with truth, with light. And to have that sense of, I'm held. I'm held and I'm loved. And I am seen in the truth. I can stand in the light. I can stand with no shame, with no guilt, with no conditions. And I am loved in the power of the universe. I am not some small, insignificant grain of sand, even though I am. I am not insignificant. All of love is significant. Every beloved is significant. You are at the center of the universe because you are God's creation. How could we not be devoted to what carries us all? The heavens declare God's grandeur and the radiance from which they arise. Each dawn tells of his beauty. Each night shines with his grace. Their testimony speaks to the whole world and reaches to the ends of the earth. In them is a path for the sun, who steps forth handsome as a bridegroom and rejoices like an athlete as he runs. He starts at one end of the heavens and circles to the other end, and nothing can hide from his heat. God's universe is perfect, awing the mind. God's truth is subtle, baffling the intellect. God's law is total, quickening the breath. God's compassion is fathomless, refreshing the soul. God's justice is absolute, lighting up the eyes. God's love is radiant, rejoicing the heart, more precious than the finest gold, sweeter than honey from the comb. Help me be aware of the truth. Help me to let go of the selfishness of the ego, but without undue shame or self-judgment. Let me know that you are always present in every atom of my life. Let me keep surrendering my little self until I am utterly transparent. Let my words be rooted in honesty and my thoughts be lost in your light. Unnamable God, my essence, my origin, my lifeblood, my home. My essence, my origin, my lifeblood, my home. don't be afraid of that devotion. Don't be afraid of it. Eventually, the devotion will become your voice that sings all the time in that devotion. These words are meant to stir everything within that's held back in some kind of, let me wait and see if I feel comfortable with this. But eventually you just go running and screaming into it. And sometimes you fall down. And while you're down, you find yourself prostrating yourself because it's part of the devotion too. It's like falling into the arms of your divine parent that you've missed for a million years. And you're finally coming home. And you want to be there and go any place. It's all right here. It's all within you, and it's all starting to bloom and blossom. And all prayers become what you have to express. And you find yourself expressing it while you're driving in the car, while you're walking, while you're doing dishes, while you're falling asleep at night. And it's not an obligation. And it doesn't feel like an obligation at all. It feels necessary, like breathing, like drinking, like eating. You don't begrudge drinking. You don't begrudge breathing. You don't begrudge eating. You embrace it. And so it is with devotion. It's wanted. That's what you find is the wanting. And the devotion comes with that wanting. Lord, through all generations, you have been our strength in our home. Before the mountains were born or the oceans were brought to life, for all eternity, you are. 1,000 years in your sight are like yesterday when it passes. You return our bodies to the dust and snuff out our lives like a candle flame. You hurry us away, we vanish as suddenly as the grass. In the morning it shoots up and flourishes, in the evening it wilts and dies. For our life dissolves like a vision and fades into air like a cloud. We live for 70 years or 80 if we're strong. 80 years filled with pain and suffering, they pass and we fly away. Teach us how short our time is. Let us know it in the depths of our souls. Show us all that is transient, as insubstantial as dreams, and that after heaven and earth have vanished, there is only you. Fill us in the morning with your wisdom. Shine through us all our lives. Let our hearts soon grow transparent in the radiance of your love. Show us how precious each day is. Teach us to be fully here, and let the work of our hands prosper for our little while. When the words of death are in prayer, it can seem somewhat like a conflict. But the word death doesn't mean what it's saying, because there is no death, but the body is going to fall away. And by the time the body falls away, the devotion in love leaves no concern. You're already home. And you're no longer attached to the body identity as you were, and therefore no longer fearful. And your journey is guaranteed in its beauty and its perfection and its exquisiteness. No more fear, no more attachment, because the love remains. The love that you are, the devotion that you are, the light that you are, never leaves. You are forever the expression of God, whether in a body or in some other form or in no form at all. You are the light of God. There is nothing that can be made better, because you are perfect as the light. More imprisoning than stone, walls, more imprisoning than the stone in walls, are the imprisonment of habits. The habits that are ingrained from the world cannot withstand the light of devotion. Your devotion breaks the trance of the walls of imprisonment from the world. The habits that have been developed in the trance of separation, they start to lose their importance, for sure. And through devotion, you begin to recognize that you've been devoted to habits, and now the devotion is shifting back to God, the truth of love. And that all the habits that have been made out of, I do this way, I do this way, I think this way, they just lose their importance. They lose the belief that they keep you safe, because you discover that there is a vast safety in love. Beyond vast, it's the whole universe, is a place of safety by its very nature. And it's almost like Somebody's whispering to you, hang up your protective gear, hang up your habits, hang up your what you thought you knew, and just rest in the devotion, and everything becomes clear, because your devotion is completely reciprocated. God is completely devoted to you. He can't be anything else. But the devotion that you open to is the sweetness and the exquisiteness that you will feel. You will feel that devotion that you are offering more fully than the devotion from God. It's that powerful because it's an offering. And by the nature of offering, it's sublime. Nothing will be missed. Listen to my prayer, hear me in my hour of need. What are the hours of need? The hours of need are all the thoughts that come that say, I know something, or I'm afraid of something. And when you have that, hear me in my hour of need. Hear me. And it's always heard. Always heard. My first prayer, other than begging for survival, but my first prayer that I recognized later was, this can't be all that there is. And that prayer was answered pretty quickly by everything falling apart. It was perfect. It was necessary. It was God's answer. Hear me in my hour of need. This can't be all that there is. That would be insane. And it was. Your prayers are heard and they are answered. Always. It's the trust that they will be answered. That they have to be answered. It's the natural state. They are answered. They're not answered to what you may be asking for. In the beginning stages of prayer, prayer is usually give me this, give me that, fix this, fix that. But as the devotion opens and there's a deeper relationship with the divine, the prayer becomes, you decide. I'm offering you my habits, and I'm offering you my worries, and I'm offering you everything. You decide what's helpful for me. I will accept what you see is most helpful for me. And how peaceful that place is. Trusting in God. Trusting in love. You are my food, my drink, my sunlight, and the air that I breathe. You decide for me what's most helpful. I have nothing to prove. I have nothing to try to win. I have no life other than the life of love. I want nothing else. Devotion. Your grace is given me. I claim it now. That grace is always pouring to you and through you. You are my food, my drink, my breath.